First Contact's Mockery. Commander Sarah Chen stood at her station aboard the Earth Defense Station Prometheus, watching the alien delegation's expressions shift from diplomatic politeness to barely concealed disdain. The Galactic Council representatives, with their crystalline-based technology and sleek quantum drives, had come to evaluate Earth's readiness to join their defensive alliance. What they saw apparently didn't impress them. "This is your primary defense system." The lead delegate, Ambassador Zixtal, gestured at the massive orbital platforms surrounding Earth. His translucent skin rippled with patterns that the diplomatic corps had learned indicated skepticism. Biomechanical constructs. The rest of the galaxy abandoned such primitive technology millennia ago. Sarah maintained her professional composure, though her hands tightened slightly on the control panel. The orbital platforms, which the aliens dismissed as primitive, were humanity's proudest achievement, a fusion of biological and mechanical engineering that had taken decades to perfect. Each platform contained millions of specialized cells grown in zero gravity, merged with advanced computers and mechanical systems in ways that allowed them to adapt and evolve in response to threats. "We find our approach suits our needs, Ambassador," Sarah replied diplomatically. "Different species often develop along different technological paths." Indeed, Zixtal's skin rippled again, this time with patterns of condescension. "Though some paths lead to dead ends, we had hoped Earth might be ready to adopt more advanced defensive technologies. The galaxy grows more dangerous by the day." Before Sarah could respond, her second-in-command, Lieutenant James Rodriguez, rushed onto the command deck. His dark eyes were wide with urgency. "Commander, we're detecting something massive at the edge of the solar system. It's like nothing we've ever seen." The main display activated, showing a vast darkness spreading across the stars. It wasn't a ship or a fleet. It appeared to be a living void, consuming light itself. The alien delegation's dismissive attitudes vanished instantly, replaced by genuine fear. "Impossible," Zixtal whispered, his skin now pulsing with terror patterns. "The Void Hive. They weren't supposed to reach this sector for another century." "The what?" Sarah demanded, but the ambassador was already opening an emergency communication channel to the Galactic Council. "This is Ambassador Zixtal requesting immediate evacuation and quantum barrier deployment. The Void Hive has reached the Sol system. I repeat, the Void Hive is here." Sarah watched as massive Galactic Council ships began emerging from hyperspace, their quantum-based defensive systems powering up. These were the advanced technologies the Council had been so proud of, the ones they'd mocked Earth for not adopting. The Void entity approached, and humanity got their first glimpse of what had the mighty Galactic Council so terrified. Within the darkness, shapes moved, impossible geometries that hurt the eyes to look at, living darkness that seemed to feed on reality itself. The Council ships opened fire with weapons that bent space itself, creating localized singularities and quantum disruption fields. The Void entity paused for a moment, as if considering this attack. Then it simply absorbed them. The quantum-based weapons and defenses didn't just fail, they seemed to make the entity stronger. "Evacuate the station," Sarah ordered, her voice calm despite the situation. "Get the Council delegation to safety." As her crew rushed to comply, she opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Commander Chen. Initiate Protocol Prometheus. Authorization Code, Darwin's Legacy." The biomechanical platforms that the aliens had mocked began to pulse with strange light. Within their cellular matrices, rapid evolution was already beginning, the very thing they had been designed for. Humanity had known they couldn't match the advanced technology of the galaxy, so they had taken a different approach. Instead of building static defenses, they had created ones that could adapt, evolve, and overcome. As the Void Hive approached Earth, humanity's primitive defenses began to change. The question was, could they evolve fast enough to save not just Earth, but a galaxy whose advanced technology had just proven worse than useless? Sarah watched the platforms begin their transformation, remembering all the mockery humans had endured for their backward approach to defense. "Let's show them what evolution can do," she whispered, as humanity prepared to face its greatest test. The hive approaches. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in humanity's most secure facility, Dr. Maya Patel watched streams of data flow across her holographic displays. The Void Hive's approach had triggered emergency protocols across Earth's biomechanical defense network, and the results were fascinating and terrifying. "The evolution rate is unprecedented," she reported to the Emergency Defense Council, her fingers tracing patterns in the data streams. "Our platforms are adapting faster than we've ever seen before, but they're also showing patterns we've never encountered." The circular chamber was filled with the world's leading scientists and military commanders, all gathered to face what could be humanity's final hours. General David Santos, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays, leaned forward. "Are they evolving in response to the Void Hive, or is something else happening?" Maya's expression was troubled. "Both. The platforms are definitely reacting to the Hive's presence, but there's more. It's as if they're anticipating future changes, evolving to meet threats that haven't happened yet." On the massive central display, they could see the Void Hive consuming the outer defense lines of the Galactic Council. The Council's quantum-based weapons and shields, considered the pinnacle of technological achievement, were worse than useless. Each failure seemed to make the Hive stronger, as if it was learning from and absorbing the very principles behind the advanced technology. "The Council's evacuation is complete," Sarah Chen's voice came through the comm system. She had remained aboard the Prometheus station despite the evacuation orders. "Their final analysis suggests the Hive will reach Earth's orbit in less than 6 hours." Maya turned to face the Council. "There's something you need to see." She brought up a new display, showing the molecular structure of the defense platform's cellular matrices. The platforms aren't just evolving randomly. They're developing specific structures, almost like. She paused, hardly believing what she was seeing herself. "Almost like they're trying to communicate." "Communicate?" General Santos frowned. "With what?" "With each other, and maybe with us." Maya highlighted a series of patterns in the cellular structure. "These formations, they're starting to mimic human neural patterns. It's as if the platforms are developing their own form of consciousness, but one that's specifically attuned to human brainwaves." The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs, but Maya raised her voice to continue. "This could be our advantage. The Void Hive absorbs and corrupts quantum technology because it operates on similar principles. But our platforms, they're becoming something entirely different, a fusion of biological evolution and mechanical efficiency that the Hive has never encountered." On another screen, they watched as the first of the Council's mighty dreadnoughts fell to the Hive. The quantum-based vessel didn't just fail, it was absorbed. Its advanced technology turned against its allies. The Hive was learning, adapting, growing stronger with each victory. "Dr. Patel," General Santos's voice cut through the growing panic in the chamber. "You've studied the platforms longer than anyone. What are you suggesting?" Maya took a deep breath. "The platforms are evolving toward consciousness, but they need direction. A guiding intelligence to help them focus their evolution. I propose we give them one. Or rather, many." She brought up a new schematic, one that had been theoretical until now. Project Synthesis, a direct neural interface between human pilots and the biomechanical platforms. Not just remote control, true integration. The platforms want to think like us. Let's help them. "The risks," someone began, but Maya cut them off. "The risks don't matter anymore. The Hive has consumed everything the Council threw at it. Their technology, supposedly millennia ahead of ours, failed completely. We need to try something different, something unprecedented." General Santos studied the schematics for a long moment. Around them, alerts indicated another Council defense line had fallen. The Void Hive was accelerating, growing stronger with each victory. Finally, he nodded. "How many pilots do you need?" "As many as we can get, but they need to be special. People who can adapt quickly, think creatively. The platforms will be learning from them, evolving based on how they think and react. I'm sending you everyone we've got, Santos decided. How fast can you get them connected? Maya's eyes turned to the countdown showing the hive's approach. Fast enough. We have to be. She opened a channel to her research team. Begin project synthesis. All volunteers to the integration chambers. We're about to find out if humanity's primitive approach to defense can succeed where the galaxy's most advanced technology failed. As her team rushed to comply, Maya watched the platforms continuing their evolution. The structures were becoming more complex by the minute, developing in ways that even she, their primary architect, had never anticipated. Humanity had created these defenses to evolve and adapt, but what they were becoming now was beyond anything they had imagined. The question was, would it be enough to stop an enemy that had already defeated the most powerful civilization in the galaxy? The human element. Captain Aisha Rahman floated in the integration chamber, surrounded by a pale blue liquid that somehow felt both warm and cool at the same time. Neural interfaces covered her body like a second skin, connecting her to the rapidly evolving biomechanical platform waiting in orbit above. Neural synchronization at 60%. Dr. Patel's voice came through the chamber speakers. How are you feeling, Captain? Aisha tried to find words to describe the sensation. It was like her consciousness was expanding, reaching beyond the confines of her physical form. It's different, she managed. I can feel the platform. Not just its systems, I can feel it thinking. She wasn't alone. Around the world, 300 other volunteers were undergoing the same process. Soldiers, scientists, artists, and engineers, chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think creatively, to adapt to the unprecedented. Synchronization at 75%, Maya reported. The platform is responding to your neural patterns. Try to stay calm and... Aisha gasped as new sensations flooded her mind. The platform wasn't just accepting her consciousness. It was learning from it, evolving to match her thought patterns. But more than that, she could feel the other platforms, the other pilots. Their consciousnesses were linking through the biomechanical network, creating something entirely new. This is incredible, she whispered. Through the platform's sensors, she could see the void hive approaching. But now, instead of terror, she felt something else. Understanding. Dr. Patel, I think I know what the hive is. In the control center, Maya leaned forward. What do you mean? It's like us. Sort of. The hive isn't just consuming quantum technology, it's learning from it. But it learns by destroying, by breaking things down to their component parts. We learn by growing, by evolution. The realization spread through the neural network. 300 human minds linked through the evolving platforms, sharing insights and understanding. The platforms responded, their structures changing even faster now, guided by human intuition and creativity. Synchronization at 90%. Maya announced. All pilots are successfully integrated. Platform evolution has accelerated by a factor of 10. Above Earth, the biomechanical platforms were transforming. What had started as relatively simple orbital defense stations were becoming something new, massive organic-looking structures that pulsed with life and intelligence. The merged consciousness of humans and machines was reshaping them in ways neither could have achieved alone. The hive has breached the lunar defense line. Sarah Chen reported from the Prometheus station. Council forces are in full retreat. We're the last line of defense. Aisha felt the fear from her fellow pilots, but it was transformed through the neural network into determination. Through the platform's enhanced senses, she could see the true nature of their enemy now. The Void Hive wasn't just a force of destruction. It was a form of collective intelligence, but one that could only learn through consumption and destruction. All pilots, prepare for contact, General Santos ordered. Remember your training, but also trust your instincts. These platforms were designed to evolve. Help them do it. The platforms continued to change, each one slightly different as it adapted to its pilot's unique way of thinking. Some developed structures that seemed to bend light itself, while others grew crystalline formations that hummed with strange energies. The human mind's capacity for creativity and innovation was being expressed through the platform's ability to evolve and adapt. "The hive is entering weapons range," Sarah reported. "All platforms, prepare for." She was cut off as the first tendril of living darkness reached out toward Earth's defenses. But this time, something different happened. As the hive tried to consume and learn from Earth's defenses, it encountered something it had never faced before. Technology that could learn and adapt just as fast as it could, guided by human consciousness that could imagine possibilities the hive had never encountered. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity's greatest strength, our ability to adapt, to think creatively, to evolve, was about to be tested against a force that had defeated everything else in its path. Through the neural network, Aisha felt the other pilots' determination. They were ready. The platforms had evolved into something far beyond their original design, shaped by human consciousness and creativity. Now it was time to show the galaxy why underestimating humanity's primitive technology had been a massive mistake. Symphony of Battle. The first contact between humanity's evolved platforms and the Void Hive sent shockwaves through space that made the quantum sensors of retreating council ships overload. Through the neural network, 300 human minds experienced it as a symphony of sensation, a clash between two fundamentally different approaches to adaptation and evolution. The hive struck first, tendrils of living darkness reaching out to consume the nearest platform. But instead of the easy absorption it had experienced with quantum-based technology, it encountered resistance. The platform, guided by Lieutenant Maria Santos' consciousness, didn't just resist. It responded, its structure evolving in real time to counter the hive's attack. "It's trying to analyze our structure," Maria reported through the network, her thoughts reaching all pilots simultaneously. "But every time it thinks it understands us, we change." The platform's surface rippled, biological and mechanical components shifting and reforming. Where the hive touched it, new structures emerged, not to fight the darkness, but to learn from it. The platform was evolving defenses based not just on what the hive was, but on what it was trying to become. "All platforms, coordinate your evolution patterns," Aisha commanded, her consciousness expanded through her own platform. "Don't just react to its attacks. Anticipate them. Show it something new every time it touches us." The neural network hummed with human creativity and innovation. Each pilot brought their unique perspective to the battle, causing their platforms to evolve in unexpected ways. An artist's platform developed structures that bent light into weapons, while an engineer's created geometric patterns that somehow disrupted the hive's ability to absorb matter. The Void Hive paused its advance, seemingly confused by this unprecedented resistance. Its previous encounters had all followed the same pattern: analyze, consume, absorb, learn. But humanity's defenses refused to be understood, constantly changing and adapting. "It's trying to coordinate a larger attack," Dr. Patil warned from Earth, multiple tendrils approaching multiple platforms. The hive struck again, this time attacking 10 platforms simultaneously. But now the human pilots were ready. Through their neural link, they shared not just information but inspiration. Each successful defense was instantly analyzed and improved upon by 300 creative human minds working in perfect synchronization with the evolving platforms. "Look at the pattern in its attacks," called out Dr. Chen, a quantum physicist whose platform had developed crystalline structures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions. "It's not just trying to consume us. It's trying to understand us, to learn how we keep changing." Aisha's consciousness expanded further through the network as she processed this insight. Then let's teach it something it never expected to learn. Through the neural link, she shared her plan. The platforms began to move, forming new patterns in space. But these weren't just defensive formations. They were expressing ideas through their very structure and evolution. The concepts of growth, of mutual benefit, of evolution through cooperation rather than consumption. The hive recoiled, its darkness swirling in patterns that suggested confusion. For the first time in its existence, it was encountering a form of adaptation that didn't require destruction. The platforms weren't just defending. They were communicating, showing the hive an entirely new way of learning and growing. It's working. Sarah Chen called from the Prometheus station. The hive's attack pattern is changing. Indeed, the tendrils of darkness were moving differently now, less aggressive, more curious. When they touched the platforms, it was no longer with the intent to consume, but to understand. Through their neural link, the human pilots felt a new presence, vast, alien, and previously incomprehensible. The hive wasn't just fighting them anymore. It was trying to comprehend this new form of evolution they represented. This is our chance, Asia broadcast through the network. Show it everything. Show it how we learn, how we grow, how we change. Show it what cooperation can achieve. The platforms began their most dramatic evolution yet, their structures changing not to fight the hive, but to show it a new path. 300 human minds working in concert, demonstrating through the very fabric of their defenses that growth didn't require destruction, that true strength came from diversity and adaptation rather than consumption and conformity. In the space around Earth, darkness and light danced in patterns never before seen in the galaxy. The void hive, which had never encountered anything it couldn't eventually consume and understand, was facing something entirely new, a form of technology that evolved through cooperation with organic minds, creating something greater than either could achieve alone. The battle for Earth had become something more, a demonstration of humanity's greatest strength, our ability to not just fight and survive, but to innovate and teach, to find new solutions to seemingly impossible problems. And through the neural network, every pilot could feel that they were on the verge of something unprecedented. Not just saving Earth, but potentially transforming an ancient enemy into something entirely new. Evolution's promise. The space around Earth had become a kaleidoscope of light and shadow, as humanity's evolved platforms and the void hive engaged in what could no longer be called a battle. Through the neural network, the human pilots felt the change in their ancient enemy, curiosity replacing hunger, understanding replacing the need to consume. The hide structure is changing, Dr. Paddle reported from Earth, her voice filled with wonder. It's not just mimicking our platforms, it's actually evolving in a completely new way. Through their enhanced perception, the pilots could see it happening. The darkness that had consumed so much of the galaxy was transforming, developing structures that seemed to mirror the cooperative nature of humanity's defense network. But it wasn't just copying. It was learning, growing, becoming something new. "We're receiving a transmission," Sarah Chen announced from Prometheus Station. It's coming from the hive itself. The signal wasn't conventional communication. It was pure information, patterns of thought and evolution transmitted directly into the neural network. Through their connection with the platforms, every pilot felt the hive's message not in words, but in concepts and understanding. "It's been alone," Asia whispered, interpreting the alien thoughts flowing through the network. For so long, it only knew one way to learn, to grow. Consumption was the only path it understood. The Galactic Council ships, which had been watching from a safe distance, began registering massive energy fluctuations. The void hive was changing at a fundamental level, its very nature transforming as it integrated this new understanding of evolution and growth. "All platforms, maintain connection," General Santos ordered. "Whatever's happening, we need to see it through." Through the neural link, humanity shared not just their technology but their perspective, the understanding that true growth comes from cooperation, that diversity breeds strength, that adaptation doesn't require destruction. The hive, ancient beyond comprehension, was experiencing these concepts for the first time. Dr. Patel's voice cut through the shared consciousness. "The platforms are evolving again, but it's different this time. They're not just responding to the hive. They're working with it. The platforms and the hive began to move in concert, creating patterns in space that expressed concepts beyond normal human comprehension. But through the neural network, the pilots understood. They were witnessing and participating in the birth of something entirely new. Coming through. Ambassador Zixtel's voice crackled over the emergency channel. What? What are we seeing? Aisha, her consciousness expanded through both the platform network and the transformed hive, answered, "The next step in evolution, Ambassador. Not through quantum technology or biological engineering alone, but through true cooperation. The hive isn't our enemy anymore. It's becoming our partner." The transformation reached its peak in a display that made the northern lights look dim by comparison. The void hive, once an unstoppable force of consumption, had become something else, a vast network of living intelligence that now understood growth through cooperation rather than consumption. In the aftermath, as the Galactic Council ships cautiously approached, humanity's primitive defense platforms had also been transformed. The merger of human consciousness, biological evolution, and mechanical efficiency had created something unprecedented, a new form of life and technology that could adapt and grow without destroying. "The Council representatives are requesting permission to dock," Sarah reported. "I think they have some questions about our primitive technology." Through the neural network, the pilots shared a moment of amusement. Earth's unconventional approach to defense had done more than save humanity. It had transformed an ancient threat and opened up entirely new possibilities for life and technology in the galaxy. "Tell them they're welcome to learn," General Santos replied, "as long as they're willing to evolve." Dr. Patel, monitoring the continued evolution of both the platforms and the transformed hive, added, "And tell them to forget everything they thought they knew about primitive technology. The real measure of advancement isn't the age of your methods. It's your ability to imagine new possibilities and adapt to change." The human pilots began the process of disconnecting from the platforms, each carrying with them the knowledge that they had been part of something revolutionary. Their primitive biomechanical technology, enhanced by human creativity and willingness to adapt, had not just saved Earth. It had shown the galaxy a new path forward. As the first Council ships docked with Prometheus Station, the transformed Void Hive settled into a stable orbit around Earth, its vast consciousness now linked permanently with humanity's defense network. It would serve as a constant reminder that true strength lies not in destructive power or technological advancement, but in the ability to adapt, to cooperate, and to imagine new possibilities. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity's primitive approach to technology had shown the way forward.